Hate Army General saying hate Army shit to Hate Army. If your name is Hate Army, there is no Hate Army, does not exist. Good vibes to the Hate Army. No. Now it is time to talk basically about something that has come together out of nowhere. It never really, okay. Allow me to just start from the beginning. Many years ago, before I was ever a YouTuber, when I was getting into internet culture in the late 2000s, and I was starting to become a gamer again, because remember, I told you guys that I was mostly into competitive Street Fighter, and then around 2007, I stopped being a competitive Street Fighter player, and I wanted to get back into mainstream gaming. So I started playing console games again, and I started immersing myself with gaming culture on the internet, and, you know, the Angry Video Game Nerd was all the rage at the time, and he was partnered with a group of guys called Screw Attack. You know about Screw Attack if you watched my Pro Jared documentary, because they were a big part of it. That whole early years of Pro Jared, he was part of them, okay? So back then, they were a major gaming site on the internet, and I hung out with the guys from Screw Attack. I actually went to MagFest 2007 before I was ever a YouTuber, and I hung out with these guys the whole time, and, you know, played games with them, did video skits with them. I actually was on a rock band panel as a judge for people doing rock band performances, along with one of the main guys of the Screw Attack business called Stuttering Craig. We were both judges on the same panel. And I joined Team Screw Attack for a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 tournament. Yes, the original Modern Warfare 1. And we got second place in the team tournament. Okay, I think it was 4v4. So, I have history with those guys from way back when. Fast forward to me being a YouTuber. Now I'm prominent on YouTube from the years of like 2010 to like 2013. I'm known as one of the top gaming YouTubers for a while there. And basically in 2013, I was trying to branch out and attend conventions and things. And one of the ones that I attended was Screw Attack Gaming Convention. Back then, they were doing their own annual convention held in Texas. And there was basically open registration if you wanted to try to be a guest at the show. And I reached out to the staff there and I was like, hey, I'm interested in being a guest at your show. I'd like to have a table, which I'll pay for. And actually, did I say no? Because I think the guests got a table for free. It's been a decade. I don't remember the ins and outs of it. But I want a table in the vendor area, because at that point we were working on the Project 7 show, and I wanted to kind of shield it a little bit, you know, advertise it there. I wanted to do, you know, a panel for my viewers who were going to attend, and also there was an Iron Man of Gaming tournament that they were going to hold, that I was going to be a participant in. And I was like, man, I know I'm pretty good at video games. You know, being a YouTuber, I'm playing all kinds of games, and I know that I could probably do pretty well at this tournament. Okay? So basically, it was a really cool convention I attended. I met Stuttering Craig again, you know, for the second time. He's like, of course I remember hanging out at MagFest with you, you know, all those years ago. Of course, I looked totally different in 2013. Now I'm a YouTuber, I'm known. And he's like, all right, yeah, this is awesome having you here. And, you know, had some interactions with him. Even I was in the finals of the Iron Man of Gaming tournament. I was on stage playing DuckTales, the remake. Remember 10 years ago they did DuckTales HD remake? I was on stage playing it. And I got my ass beat, because it wasn't about surviving, it was about getting gems, which I didn't know where the hell the gems were in the game, so I lost. But it was fun. It was a fun thing to do, and it was really nice. And I've told you guys over the years that Stuttering Craig was one of the guys that, like, over the years, every interaction I ever had with the guy was a nice one. He seems like the nicest guy, one of the nicest guys I've ever met, completely cordial, welcoming, you know, didn't care. In 2013, I had haters. I don't know if you guys realize this. In 2013, the This Is How You Don't Play movement had already begun. And the fact that he wanted to have me I wanted to be a guest, and he accepted me as a guest at his convention. People were like, why are you doing that? Don't you understand? That's Dark Side Phil. He's becoming the joke of the internet. You don't want him. To which he would basically respond, and he'd be like, no, that, you know, you guys are ridiculous. Like, this guy is someone who's a go-getter. He made his own YouTube channel. You know, that's to be respected. The content, you know, people like it. What's the problem? He didn't get it back then, you know? And then, you know, admittedly, back then, that's when the drama was just kind of starting, you know, 10 years ago, right? So, after that, I mean, I literally have not talked to this guy for about a decade, okay? And then, about a year and a half ago, I got wind that basically he'd been through the ringer. Apparently, he had sold Screw Attack to Full Screen, this company that was a partnership company on YouTube. And then basically Screw Attack fell completely apart and was disintegrated. Then he started another company called Game Attack. That was successful for a couple of years, but then he ended up leaving that for various reasons. Then he tried to do his own thing on the internet, start up his own channel with podcasts and shows. But basically after like 15 years of being someone in the game space, he decided that it was time to move on and do something different with his life. And that was like a year and a half ago when he made that announcement. And I talked about it on this show, only it wasn't this show at the point. It was different. I think it was still the pre-stream. And I was like, it's sad to see people like that go, because this is a guy who's been a mainstay. And, I'm sure today he's, you don't think, who says, what's Screw Attack, right? No one even remembers what it is. But, for him to have been in the game space for so long and basically been so prominent, and now he was kind of retiring from games, I was very sad. Genuinely very sad to see him go. Even though I hadn't followed him for a decade, like, dude, I don't like hearing that news. I want people to stay doing what they love, and it sounded to me really weird. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, he came back earlier this year, last year, and started doing full-time gaming stuff again. And I've been following him a little bit. Like, I've been watching some of the stuff he puts out. He was doing a gaming news show, not a gaming news show, just a general news show for a while and stuff like that. And there was this big announcement. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, guys, as of this point, so me recording, this is the 50-minute mark. All right. Timestamp the 50-minute mark of the Level 1 podcast from March 3rd, 2023, because this is basically me addressing the whole situation about me appearing on the Side Scrollers podcast. My official response, and actually I would appreciate it if either Craig or someone on his staff could watch this to know my official response and how I'm approaching this, okay? Because I think they should know this up front, everything, okay? So, Craig started up his old podcast again. It used to be called Side Scrollers, and it was a podcast they used to do on screwattack.com, over a decade ago. And it was very popular, and it was very well known among the game space back then, before even the prominence of YouTube and all of that. Okay, so when he announced he was reviving the show, it was very exciting. All the long-standing fans of Screw Attack, they used to be called the G1s. Now they call themselves the G2s. Wow, we're excited. The podcast is coming back, and it wasn't just, it's just me talking. Like, my podcast is me gabbing, right? This podcast is a panel of people, different kinds of people, guests coming in, covering news, covering other topics. It's a good podcast. I've been watching every episode since the show relaunched. I'm really enjoying the show. I recommend you look at it. If you're looking for a fun, variety-style gaming podcast with other topics addressed as well, yes, occasionally a little bit of politics gets thrown in there, but not too much. Give it a look. Side Scrollers. Okay? That's the name of the show. So, I've been watching the show or whatever. Out of the blue, I haven't mentioned this at all on stream. I'm not talking about Craig or anything on stream or anything like that, right? Out of the blue, Stuttering Craig emails me. Says, hey, Phil, so we're relaunching. This is before they relaunched the show, by the way. We're relaunching the show, and we'd like to have you on as a guest. You're actually one of the people whose names popped up because we have history from back in the day, and it would be great to have you on as like a guest on the show. We have rotating guests, and we'd like you on for a show to see how it goes. So I thought about it, and I watched, basically, I kind of knew what the show was going to be, and I responded, and I was like, well, I guess that sounds interesting. I wish you the luck with the show. I'd like to see how the show goes this coming week, and what kind of a show it's going to be, but it sounds interesting to me, something different, I told you guys, I like doing different stuff now. I'm venturing out. I very much don't want to be just in my same lane doing the same kind of content forever. I feel like maybe this is an opportunity to go talk to a different audience. They probably have no idea who I am, or if they do, they only know it from the negative memes and the hate, right? They don't know who Darkside Phil really is. So to have me on a show where we're going to be not only talking about me, but addressing other topics and having a fun variety show is probably a really interesting idea, right? So I responded to him and I said, well, thanks for reaching out. Yeah, I might be interested. Let's talk a little bit more. And so where we basically left it was I was going to be, it was scheduling too, because I told him I was launching my DSP Reacts channel in February. I said, I'm going to be focused on that in February, so I really don't want to take any time away from any of my stuff right now. So what I'd like to do is wait a little bit, and then maybe we could do it late February, March, or whatever. So we talked back and forth, and we kind of established, okay, it's probably going to be sometime in March that I'll probably appear on the show. And that's where we left it for a while, like a week or two, kind of just hung there. And then finally, we started talking again. And, Craig was like, well, let's have you on the show, and let's do kind of an episode where we talk about not only you, because we want to give you time to talk about yourself, and obviously there's going to be questions and stuff, but also, do a full show with you on. And we kind of determined roughly it would be around the middle of March. That's what we determined, okay? I was like, okay, that sounds good to me. That gives me time to mess around with my setup, because the thing is, If I'm going to be on their show, I got to accommodate the show. I want to mess around with my setup here, make sure that it would work with with how they're doing their show and everything. You know, so all sounds good to me. All right. Now, I outright said to him, in the email back, all right, and I'm not reading it word for word, but I'm paraphrasing here. I basically said, listen, you got to understand something. I have a giant hate mob following me around the internet. So if I appear on your show, there's going to be drama. I say, you might not even want, I said, to my audience, my plan is, I don't even want to really promote it. I would rather have it be like a surprise where I'm on a show and then I can say, hey guys, by the way, go watch me on the show right now. It's live. And then they could go check out the show and watch it on demand after. This would prevent any kind of hateful drama or buildup around the show because it would be kind of a surprise appearance. And that way it would avoid the nonsense. There'd be no harassment of anyone or anything, right? So that's how I was talking about it, going along with it, all right? But, you know, I guess, you know, they wanted to do it however they want to do it. It's their show. They can do whatever they want. And, I you know, unbeknownst to me, earlier this week, I guess, since they were starting March, what is it? Today's March 3rd, so 2 days ago. You know, they announced that, hey, a potential guest on this show for this month is going to be Darkside Phil. And when they said that, it took a little while, but you know how the internet is. It took, you know, a little bit, but the word started to spread. They're like, what? Oh, what? He's going to be on the show. Now, here's the thing, and this is what these guys didn't know. And this is what I feel like I should fully disclose to the internet for full explanation purposes, because I don't want anyone to feel like they're getting burnt here. If you remember many months ago, back in like the fall, there was a period where there was a bunch of prominent YouTubers who were kind of ragging on me constantly, and it really irked me the wrong way. It rubbed me the wrong way. Because here's the thing. If you want to talk about me in a negative light, that's fine, but then give me a fair shake. No one wants to do that. Everyone wants to name drop me in a very toxic negative light, referencing all the memes, all the tropes, all the nonsense, but no one actually wants to talk to me. Instead, they just want to do... We were just watching the Pro Jared documentary, correct? And what did Pro Jared say? For 3 months, everyone just literally crapped on me, but no one ever reached out to me to talk to me about these things. Instead, it was just crap on him. Who cares? He's the whipping boy of the internet. Now, that was 3 months for Pro Jared. That was 3 months for Pro Jared. For me, it's been 10 years. Okay? 10 years of people constantly just dumping. When does anyone reach out to me and say, we would like to give you your fair shake? Let's talk to you. Let's get it from the perspective of the person who's being shit on all the time, right? To get his side. Never. Never has that happened. The one person who reached out to me over the years was the Quartering. I was on his show. I answered literally every question. And he got crapped on. Oh, that was terrible. Oh, that was an awful interview. Why was he on the show? It was a waste of everyone's time. Why? Because he didn't eviscerate me. He didn't sit there and make fun of me. He didn't sit there and be nasty to me. He didn't sit there and essentially make demands of me that were unrealistic. He was just trying to have me as a guest, right? And ask questions, which I answered. My answers, whether they're satisfactory to you or not, are for you to judge. But, you know, basically, I guess to him it was like a waste of time. And he ended up, I almost feel like he feels like he ended up being the worst for having done the interview. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you could get that from him. Someone could ask him, how does he feel about it? But I almost feel like people dumped on him for doing the interview, but not eviscerating me during the interview. Correct? Since then, I have not done a single interview. No one's asked. Until this last fall when I got pissed off about the entire internet dumping on me. And I said, if you want to dump on me, actually talk to me. Do it, and let's have a fair time where we can go back and forth. And if you really have questions or whatever, let's do it. Let's talk. And I'll be honest, yes, there were a lot of people who reached out. YouTubers, prominent YouTubers with millions plus subs. People who have drama shows. All kinds of shit. Okay? And ultimately, after talking with all these people, I kind of narrowed it down to 2 people who I feel would be very trustworthy people to do a full in-depth expose style project with. It wouldn't just be, oh, Phil is interviewed. It would be someone wants to actually cover the entire situation fairly from all perspectives. All right? But ultimately, by the time that I got to the point where I came to that decision, no one really cared anymore. All that bullshit had died down. The name drops, negative name drops stopped. I stopped addressing. I've hopefully done a good job in the last couple of months or 3 months. I guess it was like November-ish when this happened. So you figure, 3.5, 4 months. I've done my best to stop addressing the bullshit on my streams. When someone tries to bait me with some bullshit, this guy said this about you. What do you think? Or here's a topic that will obviously inadvertently get you to talk about something you weren't intending. What do you think? I just say, oh, look, it's a troll thing. Bye. And I think a lot of people are pissy about that. Oh, why doesn't he read it? Because it's just bait. It's just bait, and I'm not going to fall for the bait anymore. As I've told you guys, my intention is to make content for my audience. It is curated content for a small audience. I have no aspirations to be a giant, prominent YouTuber, to be filthy rich, to have millions of views. I don't care about any of that. I just want to be able to make content I enjoy and my viewers enjoy in a space where we can all enjoy each other's company in a social aspect, period. That's it. I don't care about any of the other white noise around it at all. It has nothing to do with me. I don't care about any of it. Okay, I'm not even involved in it. So, since things are going good, why rain on that parade? Why poke a hornet's nest when the hornets have calmed down, right? So I talked with a couple different people who still are very, very interested in working with me on doing something large scale and having my actual involvement along the way. I'm down for that at some point when I feel it is the right time for that. You will see that. I promise you, because these are people who are good people, nice people who don't necessarily love me. But there are people who I feel like if they wanted to really do a full, people always say, will you do a biography? Like, that's literally what it would be. It would be like covering me and my history as an internet content creator from start to finish. Every rise and every fall, every mistake, but every triumph. Being fair, as opposed to, every negative thing and that's it. Both perspectives, you see? So, I'm down for that when it's the right time. Now is not the right time, in my opinion. I'm busy now. I'm starting a new channel. I got all this stuff going on in my life. I'm not doing that right now. Okay? So that's basically what's been going on, and that's it. Now I'm focused on my own stuff. So when I got offered to be on this podcast out of the blue, I didn't solicit it or anything. I was like, this could be something neat to do for variety or whatever. It's certainly not what I was looking to do with that. It's something completely different. I want to hang out on the show with these guys, talk about news topics, be a little silly. It's a fun show. So on March 1st, 2 days ago, they just casually say, this guy's going to be on our show this month. And that was it. And I knew it. I knew if they did this is what would happen. Of course, all the haters, all the trolls, all the detractors, they come out of the woodwork. They start flooding their show on a daily basis. What are you going to ask? Are you going to bring up this? Are you going to bring up that? And it's all the same misinformation as always. It's literally the same parroted stuff because these people have not come up with anything new in years. It's always the same shtick now. It's not even, it used to be, they used to go through these sagas, right? It used to be, first it's this is how you don't play Saga. Then it's the DDoS getting swatted, getting false copyright Saga. Then it was the taxes Saga. Then it was the bankruptcy Saga, the escort Saga. They think my life is an anime. It's not. But they think it is. That's how they treat it. They think that doing shit like that is somehow like acceptable. It's not. It's very, very messed up. Okay? So to them, this is another saga. To me, I just wanted to be on a show and have fun and kind of hang out and have a good time with a bunch of guys or gals or whoever they have on the show that day, and have a good time, something different. Instead, within one day, 24 hours, the whole thing gets blown up into drama. What drama questions will you ask Phil? Okay? So, I get wind of this, and I'm like, well, I knew it was going to happen. I knew if they mentioned it, this was going to happen. I'm not stupid. It's only happened every other time. So, I've been going back and forth with Craig, and this morning, Craig read an email on the show, his show, Side Scrollers. You can watch it. It's live right now over on their channel. He read the email. It's word for word the email that I'd sent him. But in a nutshell, here's the deal. Craig feels pressured by the internet that if he's going to have me on as a guest, it can't just be a normal show where we shoot the shit for 5 minutes and then they're on to topics and things. It has to be about me. I don't like that. I'll be honest. I had no intention of this being the DSP show. It's supposed to be Side Scrollers with special guest DSP. But because these people completely decide to dominate every aspect of anything to do with me on the internet, it seems like, again, I can't enjoy things other people can enjoy. Anyone else can go on a podcast and be a fun special guest, but not Phil. Phil can't have the fun things everyone else has. I can't have a sponsor because these people go and harass the sponsor. I can't have a fun appearance on a show. It's not fair. It's just not. I'm upset. I am genuinely upset, and I'm not upset with Craig or the hosts of the Side Scroller Show. I'm not. I'm upset with the situation that's created itself on the internet that I try to separate myself from at every moment. It's like, oh, here's a chance where I can actually do something that a normal person would do. Oh, that's not allowed for Phil. Phil has to still be the whipping boy. He has to be treated like shit, And I'm tired of it, man. It breaks me down. It makes me feel like shit that I can't just have fun, all right? So now, I wanted to go on this show and just have a good time like everyone else is entitled to. And instead, what's it got to be? It's got to be an interrogation. All right. But here's the thing. There's a difference between you're going in front of an audience that's genuinely curious, likely open-minded, not saying my detractors, because that they want to watch this and hear it, but to go in front of people who are essentially just hearing about all this bullshit for the first time, and they have genuine questions about it. Okay. So that's the difference. It's different because you can go in with preconceived notions, but I feel like if I went and, if Craig's sitting there and asking me questions, or Adam, that's the other co-host, or Travis, or whoever is there and they're asking me questions, it's more of from a curiosity and actually I want to get some facts perspective. It's not, we're going into this with 400 negative preconceived notions about Phil and we already believe them all. And no matter what he says or does, we hate him anyway. Right? So I don't think that's the case. This is not a trap. This is not me going on Destiny's show where he's outright admitted that he was going to try to set up traps for me to make me look like shit. That's not what this podcast is at all. I feel like it's the actual complete opposite situation. People who are genuinely interested in talking to me and hearing my story, and they can make judgments for themselves. And again, I hope that people are watching from that 50-minute timestamp on here, Craig and the guys on the show. Hell, if you want to play this back on your show, I give you permission to. It's up to you. If you want to ask me anything, go ahead. I will answer to the best of my ability. I will answer in a way that basically I'm not going to put myself at risk, and allow me to explain what I mean by that, because I will talk about this obviously on the show. Okay. These people are so crazy. They do absolutely anything. And they will take any little crumb of any piece of data and find a way to spin it into something that can harm me and my family. And they have. This started off 10 years ago with a stupid thing called This Is How You Don't Play, which I'm sure I'm going to talk about, how it all started. And literally since then, it's just become such a viral meme on YouTube that Phil is a person, a lol cow who is to be hurt at every moment, and no one ever has to feel bad about it because we have basically said so many negative things about him. Some of them have to eventually be true, and therefore we're justified in the level of harassment that he's received over the years, and he doesn't deserve any kind of positivity, any kind of success, hell, any even kind of safety. Destroy all that. He should be literally tortured for the rest of his life for the horrible, horrible things that he's done. That's this mentality on the internet that there is. And, it's painful, man. I just want to do my thing. I just want to have fun with an audience, a small audience. I don't have a big audience. I'm not some giant YouTuber, man. I just want to do something with my guys here and my gals and not have to worry about people getting harassed about all this stuff. It's like, I just want to be on a podcast. Now, here comes the harassment brigade, like within moments of dropping the name, right? So, here's the thing, all right? As long as there is buy-in, that these guys are going to make sure that there is no kind of risk. And what I mean by that is no doxing, right? No discussion of stuff that has absolutely positively nothing to do with me. Because this is the problem, is these people have gone so far down the rabbit hole of information to try to harass people, not only just me directly, but family members and other people on the periphery that have nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? So, what's going to happen is I'm going to go on the show and immediately the view count's going to skyrocket 5 times with my detractors, and they're going to come in, they're going to be doing disgusting memes about myself and my wife. They're going to be posting up personal information. They're going to be doing every nasty, disgusting possible thing. I mean, just to give you an example of it. It's already happened, and Craig doesn't even know, so I hope he's going to hear this and he'll kind of understand. This morning on the podcast, he brought up someone who is a regular of these streams, who is a regular victim of harassment from my detractors. This person has literally never done a thing wrong on my streams. They are one of the nicest people that comes to my content all the time. All right? But my detractors hate this person because he talks a lot. And he likes to get my attention and he likes to have conversation with me because my streams are personable. So they go and they harass this person online. All right, I'll say his name's Derek. Everyone knows his name is Derek, right? Now, they basically harass this guy and they go into all his social media shit and everything. That's no one's business. Just because you're an attendee of a stream doesn't mean someone should harass this guy. This guy is not a whale because Craig had the misconception this guy's a whale. He doesn't contribute. He's just a viewer. He doesn't contribute financially at all. He just sits here and talks nicely with me every day, right? If you didn't pry into his personal life, you would never know anything negative about the guy. But these people are sick. So they go into his social media accounts, they look at this stuff, and they harass him. So what did they do? They went on the Side Scrollers podcast and they said, "Oh, you got to ask Phil about Derek because he's a whale of Phil's and he has this and that going on in his personal life." I was like, "Wait, what? That's not even true. Like that's blatant misinformation. Already it's begun." I mean, we're 2 days out from being announced that I'm on the show, and already Craig and crew have been bombarded with complete misinformation about me, about how I operate, about my viewers. What a shock, right? Because here's the thing. Who has the vested interest in this appearance? The detractors do, right? My fans do it. Oh, it's nice that Phil's going to appear on this show. Yeah, we'll watch it. This will be cool. But they already have a place to be with me every day, my own content, right? So it's not the fans that are going to be jumping on. It's going to be the detractors that are going to go, "Oh, this is our opportunity to sink our hooks into someone else who hasn't heard about all the crap about DSP and to let them believe it." Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it because it really is. It's a cultish mentality. It's this weird cult-like mentality of hate. And it started 10 years ago with "This is how you don't play," and it just continued. It's wave after wave. There's always another reason. When one thing passes, the next thing comes up to continue the system of harassment that's happened to me for now over a decade. And it has to stop at some point, but at this point, I don't see how it ever will, because when you're in a system that promotes it, YouTube promotes it, YouTube promotes harassment, there is no way to protect yourself against it besides being rich and suing people directly for defamation or slander. And I'm not rich, so I can't do that. I can't sue the hundreds to thousands of people who have said these horrible things about me over the years. So I just ignore it. And I like I said, I sit in my lane, I make my own content, and I ignore it. So what happens? It thrives, it propagates, it festers, it becomes worse and worse, right? But what can I do? If I address it, you're giving attention to it, it just gets worse. If you ignore it, it festers, it just gets worse. There's no solution to it. So this is not fair that in 2023, years removed from some of the horrendous things that I've openly admitted I did a decade ago, that I get this kind of harassment, and now I just want to do something fun. I can't do it. Phil's not allowed to have fun. Fun on the internet for Phil? No, screw him. We got to ruin it. So they have. Effectively, that's what they've done. They've turned this to that. It should have been a fun podcast appearance and turned it into, well, now this has to be an interrogation of Phil because, God forbid that anyone actually just judge something at face value, have him on as a guest, as opposed to, now we must have 400 questions of horrible accusations addressed before we even get to anything fun. I don't know. So here's the thing. I said to Craig, if you can guarantee me the safety of me and my family and everyone around, meaning no doxing, no leaking of any personal information, no allowing people to post nasty, ridiculous things about this, you know what I'm saying? Then I would definitely say I'm in line with it. And by the way, here's the other thing, because this is what these idiot detractors say. Phil would never go on a show and just let anyone ask him anything. Absolutely not. Why? Why wouldn't I? What's the point of having someone talk to you if you're going to limit the conversation, right? When I went on the Quartering, all right, his show, people made all this shit up about, oh, Phil told the Quartering he can't ask this, he can't ask this, he can't ask this. Oh, by the way, the Quartering paid Phil to be on the show. Wrong, 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 and wrong. None of that was true, but they just believed it anyway. And it's actually become, they think it's fact that that interview was staged, it wasn't real, and he paid me to be on the show. It's all lies. But they think it's true because they're stupid. They talk themselves into believing things that aren't true, and then that's their truth. that they then post all over the internet and benefit from. Clickbait views, money, ad revenue, contributions to propagate the hate. Right now, this very podcast is being rebroadcast by likely a dozen different people, all talking junk over it with their own viewers, where my content gives them content. And look at my content. Is it toxic? And this is what I will say too, because I'm going to stop talking about this in a second, but I got to get this off my chest. And again, I hope that Craig and the side scrollers people are watching this. If you want to know the truth about me and my content, watch some of it. And I don't mean watch the detractor montage, watch this guy who only critiques the negative things or whatever. And it doesn't have to be a long segment. Watch me play a game for, a live stream that I'm doing of a game for an hour. Whether it's I would recommend a late night chill stream, only because the late night streams that I do are more relaxed. I have a lot more interaction with my smaller audience. On the late streams, the daytime streams typically end up being a lot more focused on the game, especially because I play a lot of new releases on the earlier streams. But I would say the late night streams are the best ones. And I'm not saying you have to sit here and watch it for 2-3 for straight hours. Sit down for 20 minutes and just watch how the stream goes, watch the interactions, and then judging on that, make some judgments for yourself. And if you feel that I'm a terrible person, I'm a terrible gamer, I'm a scammer, I'm a loser, I'm this, I'm that, whatever it is, go right ahead and make that judgment. It's your right to have your own subjective take on whatever. The problem is there's no objectivity on the internet about me. It's literally all take the selective moments that make him look bad, turn that into what we say about him, push that out as a dramatic narrative, profit. And this has been for 10 years that I've had to put up with this in my life. I've seen my whole personal life get turned upside down because of it. Things fall apart, friendships, relationships. I can't even network with people. I can't even do co-streams with other people. I can't have co-op partners. I've tried and people have gotten harassed because of it. You know what I mean? Like it's really to a situation where I can't even do normal things. People say, why don't you have good patron goals? I can't even do patron goals. If I do them, people have threatened to get my Patreon shut down. You know what I mean? Like, it's all this stuff. It's like, it's crazy what it's come into. So if I'm going to show up on the show, I do need to buy in that everything's going to be safe. Not that I go on the show and this is the shooting gallery for my haters to come and they're going to be posting every disgusting, toxic, personal thing in the chat that has nothing to do with anything of relevance just to hurt us. You know what I'm saying? That has to not be allowed. Okay, that's number one. All right, and number two, I hate the fact that it's going to have to be an interrogation of me. I would rather have it be, let's talk about me for an hour. Ask me whatever you want. I'll answer to the best of my ability. No, I'm not going to reveal legal records, financial records. I'm not going to open up my accounts and put myself to public exposure, because that's exactly the reason my detractors want me to go on a show. They want me to say, Phil, open up everything possible. Because here's the thing, because they either win or they win. Here's why they want that. Reason number one, if I open up all my financials and I open up my phone and I open up my accounts and I show you things, maybe there's evidence, something there, that something they've said, all the horrendous things they've said about me, maybe one of them was true. And if they even get that 1 out of 1 million is correct, they've been right 100% all along. They've been justified in all the hatred and vitriol they've tossed at me during the years. That's what they're looking for. Okay? That's what they're looking for. Or the flip side of this. Let's say, for example, nothing happens. There's nothing there because I'm telling the truth. What they will do is take the information now that they have and they will harass me with it. And I will tell a story. I would like to tell a story on the show. I've told it here many times recently, and I'll just say the car repair story. That's all I'll say. And I'll tell that story on the show so people can maybe understand my perspective better on that show. Okay? So, as of right now, as long as there is buy-in from the side scrollers guys, I would appear on the show probably around mid-March. We're still working out the details. I'm still trying to work to see if my setup will work with their streaming stuff that they do. And I guess what it's going to end up being is, it's going to be like an hour of me just answering questions to a new audience. I mean, yes, all my detractors will be there, but there's a new audience too to kind of learn about me for the first time and to honestly try to answer these questions to the best of my ability. And be truthful and honest, but not also be so ridiculous. That's the thing. This is not Phil's going to open up his personal life to everyone, and now he ruins it because he inadvertently revealed stuff, and now people will not stop harassing him. I've been through it. I've been through identity theft already. I can't go through it again. It really hurt. People, dude, I swear, people think I'm making shit up, man. It hurts. 2 years ago, again, I was in a situation, I'm sorry, man, I'm getting emotional, but 2 years ago, I was in a situation where I was almost good to go again. I was almost to the point where after all of this stuff going down, I was like, wow, financially, I'm in a good position. If things keep going the way they're going, there's a light at the end of this tunnel. All right? I said that many times on my streams. There's finally, with all these financial problems I've had going through bankruptcy, there's a light at the end of this tunnel. Things are going to go good. What happened? My detractors harassed Twitch to the point where they kicked me out of the partner program for literally doing nothing. I did nothing to warrant it. Then they committed identity theft, hacked accounts, and I lost tons of money. I lost money, thousands of dollars, right? And it's like, oh, but that's fine because it's Phil. Oh, that's fine because it's me. Oh, I see. Only because it's me. And then, well, I don't understand. Why does Phil have to keep asking for contributions from his audience? That's fucking why. Because you scumbags ruin my life over and over. That's why. If you would leave me alone for 1 year, things would likely level out and be fine. But you guys keep creating the problem. Why? So that you can then make more content about it. That's why. It's this endless cycle. Create the problems for Phil. See the misery. Cover the misery. Profit. It's an endless cycle. And I've had enough of it, man. It has to end at some point. But, you know, for now, I try to do my best to ignore it. I try to do my best to just push forward positively here on my own channels and make content for my audience that likes me for who I am and what I do. And they, you know, again, everyone can make their own subjective choices and their own subjective judgments about me. But, you know, at the end of the day, I have a fan base who likes me and likes my content and want to support it. And I'm happy for that. I'm happy that I have a very good home life, okay, outside of this that I don't share with you guys. So that's the point, is that if I appear on the show, I want it to be a fair and honest discussion. Ask me whatever the hell you want. I don't care. Ask me any question. I will answer to the best of my ability, but at the same time, I can't do what they want. They want me to put myself in giant situations of risk that will ruin my life, where I've already had parts of my life messed up and ruined because of them. They want that again, or they want it even worse. That's their aim here. That if everything was proven that I was innocent of every single thing, which, by the way, that's never going to happen. Of course, I've made mistakes. Of course, there have been little white lies. Of course, there's been these things over the years that have happened. It's called human nature, right? I'm not perfect. I'm not flawless. I've made mistakes and done horrible things. But at the same time, is it grounds to try to ruin me constantly? That I have to hide here on my channel and I can't even appear on a podcast because here comes the harassment to them. You know what I'm saying? So let's see how it goes. Right now, again, we're hashing out the details. Again, I give them permission if they wanted to play this clip, 30-minute clip, or even highlight it. It's up to them if they want to play it on their show or not. I'm cool with that. I'm actually looking forward to it. Now, here's the thing, and I do want to publicly apologize to the two people who I've been talking with over the last 4 months about possibly doing like a full-length kind of documentary style thing about me and having my input. This is not what this is, nor was this ever intending to be this. I never thought being invited on a Side Scrollers podcast, and then all of a sudden, now it's an interview. I didn't even expect that. I didn't think that's what it was going to be. And I kind of feel bad because these are two people who I've talked with for months. I feel like they're really good people who wanted to cover me fairly, not to say that they were ever going to pull any punches. And I think one day we are going to do that. There's going to be that kind of a thing on the internet that will be a fair shake of Phil. Right now, I'm not ready for that. But at least this interview will be something where they want to ask questions, go for it, man. You know, ask me those questions and go from there. But again, yeah, some people might say, well, oh, that's kind of messed up, Phil. You talking for months, you were going to do it. You even said you were talking with people. Now you're doing it with Side Scrollers. It wasn't supposed to be this way. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. It was supposed to be, if I was going to do it, I was going to do it with someone who was going to do a bigger style project. And now it's kind of just turned into, well, let's do a quick interview, right? So I guess we'll see how it goes. All right. So anyway, that's where it is as of now. I'm sure now there's going to be a million questions. People are going to, I see people contributing. They're going to ask me questions about it. That's fine. I'll answer questions. Now, that's the end of this segment. Thanks for watching. Crew of Side, or if it's just Craig watching this, or Crew of Side Scrollers, whoever watched, thanks, and we'll see what happens. There you go. Okay. So that's that. That is that. Okay. again, I'll let you guys know when I have more details about this, to actually concretely announce. I'm sure I'll be talking with Craig and crew in the next week or two to hammer it in. Their show is early, just so you guys know. Their show is early because they're broadcasting 9 to 11 a.m. Central Time. So that's like, wait, no, that's not true. It's 9 to 11 a.m. my time. It's 11 to 1 p.m. Central Time. It's a 2-hour time difference. So they start their show 9 in the morning my time. So the way that I was approaching it was that I was going to have a day where I get up early. I'm on their show for a couple of hours. Then we come over to my stream and we do a decompression stream where basically you guys, we just talk for a couple hours. And then if we want to do some gameplay, we can. But I figured it would be more, I'm off the show now. Let's talk about how it went and everything. You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking. But, we'll see. It would have to be a little different shuffling around on my own schedule and everything, too. Okay? So, he says, why not just ask Craig not to do that? I assume what you're saying is why not ask Craig to not ask me questions? Because I don't think it's possible. Imagine this. I'm going to do a podcast. And on that podcast, I'm going to get a controversial person. Who will be considered controversial in the last few years? I don't know. All right. How about this? Andrew Tate, which I don't even know the guy from a dirty shoe. I really don't. I don't know anything about the guy except he's very controversial on the internet with the things he says, and he just got arrested, right? So now imagine he gets out of jail. It's announced he's going to be on a podcast, all right? So he gets on the podcast, and literally the entire podcast, no one talks about any of that. No one talks about his controversial takes on the internet. No one talks about him being arrested. No one talks about any of it. It's just, let's talk about news. And we're covering news articles with him in it. Like, huh? You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, I'm sure it could probably still be a good show. But there's elephants in the room, that won't shut up. It's just like playing Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Hyper Fighting. The elephant, the India stage, Dalsim stage. It was like, so Andrew Tate's on the podcast. Shut up back there, you stupid elephants. In fact, now that would be cool on the Side Scroller show if they had that elephant sound effect and they play that during the show. That would be funny. To play the elephant in the room, the intrusive India elephants won't shut up. That would be great. Okay. Anyway, so you see my point. If anyone's going to even do anything with me, it's kind of like they have to at least make an effort. And the thing is, let's be honest, I don't do interviews. I don't. I have answered every question right here on my show. Every question about all of the drama, literally every topic, has been addressed on this podcast, on a stream. It's all been addressed. 1,000,000%. The problem is people don't like the answers. Because the answers are the truth, and people don't want the truth. They want, exposure of Phil to make him look bad so we can continue with our serious situation of negativity and drama. So when someone says, hey, what's going on with this? And I answer honestly, they don't like that, so they ignore it. That's not true. He just, it's not true, it's a lie. So you see what I'm saying? There's nothing that anyone could ask me. There's literally nothing that anyone could possibly ask me. Okay? Nothing. At all. That I haven't already answered. I've been asked everything. Really. I've asked there's nothing, there's literally no risk. There's none. The risk is if I start showing specifics that could hurt me. Right? That's it. As they say, the devil is in the details. Showing you an actual bank account. Showing you transactional history, showing you accounts on my phone, login stuff. That's where the risk is, because that's the end of everything. Because if everyone gets a piece of that information, that they will do whatever they can, to hurt. And that's that thing I need to avoid that. So answering questions, I've never been afraid to answer any questions. And then again, it's your own judgment. Be subjective, trust me or not. I can't make you trust me. All you can do is, all right, now here, and really, when you put it into real perspective, okay, what's the big deal if you trust me or not? If you like me, come watch the content. If you don't like me, don't, right? But that's the problem, is people then take it to this insane level of harassment. It's not, I don't like him, so I won't watch him because I don't trust him, right? Instead, it's, oh, I don't trust him, so I hate him, and now I destroy him and everything around him. It's like, where did that mentality come from? I don't know. And only on the internet. You can't do that shit in real life. You can only do that shit on the internet. Just so happens, my business is on the internet. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so why not ask Craig not to do that? Well, Craig, thanks for asking me on your show, but if you're going to ask me any questions whatsoever about negative stuff, I'm not appearing. Huh? It's almost like you have to get past that. Like, this is the initial hurdle. And once that hurdle has been passed, correct? Then you can get to normality. So maybe if I appear on the show and it's a whole hour of interrogation, hardcore hour of asking me questions about every stupid thing that I've already answered, and I just got to give the answers again, so it's all in one consolidated spot, and the haters will never be satisfied, and they'll always say we hate his answers, and then, my fans will be like, we really didn't care about this anyway, we're going to watch his streams regardless, and then maybe, if things go well, then things can maybe get back to normality. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Maybe eventually I can be a normal appearer on some show, like a normal human. I don't have to be treated like, I'm a scumbag spy for some kind of a country who now has to be thrown in the gulag and tortured to get answers. You know what I'm saying? So I guess we'll see what happens. And by the way, no, I'm not getting paid for the show. That was never a discussion. I don't think anyone gets paid as a guest on that show. I don't want money for the show. I was never an intention at all. I wasn't paid for the quartering appearance. I'm not paid for this stuff. This is ridiculous. That's what people say when they're assholes who lie and make shit up. Okay? You're describing karma. That's why it's always important to be a good person when it matters most. Now, I will openly admit over the years, I told you guys this time and time again, I made big mistakes back in the day. When I was my early days as a content creator, I was an asshole. I spoke out of turn. I insulted things that I had no right to insult. I was insulting game developers. I was insulting other content creators. I was insulting games. It came from my days of being a competitive Street Fighter, where back then, to make a name for yourself, you had to be offensive. You had to actually start rivalries. That way people would care about you, right? So it kind of is from that. But that was over 10 years ago. If you take a look at things now versus then, and if you watch my content today versus back then, okay, how can you even compare the two? It's like apples to oranges. It's hilarious because people will say, Phil, you've changed too much. Your content's too tame. We don't like you anymore. Then people say, oh, you see, Phil hasn't changed at all. That's why we still hate him. Like, what? You can't have it both ways. It's either you admit that I've changed as a person, I've grown, I don't do those offensive things I used to do anymore, but then you admit, but you say, oh, well, now the content's boring. Or it's the other way around. If it's so offensive or whatever, then you know what I'm saying? It's bullshit because they want it both ways. They want justification for hating on me, but then they use that as a reason to say that also my content sucks. It doesn't make any sense at all. It's called rationalization, right? And it doesn't work. You can't rationalize toxic hate. You just can't do it. It's not anything logical. Logical people don't do that. Logical people will take someone and criticize, say, nah, okay, I don't like them, and move on. They don't do systematic harassment. You know what I'm saying? So you want to talk about karma? Sure, absolutely. In the Street Fighter community, I did awful things. Karma. Sure, my early days as a YouTuber, I did some really dumb, awful things. Karma. But when you're talking about the last 5+ years, I don't even know how you can even reasonably say that any of the stuff that's happened to me could be karma when I have really tried to change for the better, listening to your feedback actively. I want to be a better person. I don't think that I hope I've become a better person. And I think it's an ongoing thing, right? And self-improvement is always an ongoing thing. You're never perfect. So you always got to try to improve a little more, right? But I don't see how that justifies what happens to me today. All I want to do is go on a podcast. Within 24 hours of the announcement, it's now got to be an interrogation session because everyone is spreading misinformation. But you see, oh, by the way, the point I was making about Derek earlier, but you see the point? Already there's insane misinformation about me being fed to these guys. It's completely wrong. It's all wrong shit. It's, oh, Derek is a giant whale of Phil's. So we went and we harassed him and we found all these horrible things. He's not a financial contributor at all. He's just someone who talks on the stream. And people actually went out there and bullied him. How the fuck is that fair? If anything, the last thing you would want to bring up is him, because it makes you and your detractor community look awful. But you're so stupid and up your own ass, you don't realize that. You would want to not touch that with a 10-foot pole, because you realize harassing a random viewer is not the way to prove your point about anything. Okay, this is a troll. I can ignore that one. You know what's actually funny? Is that there are people, let's talk here. There are people who try to think that they're smart. And they ride what's called both sides of the fence. You ever heard this one? It's someone who acts one way in one situation and another way in another situation. Okay? It's someone who basically is trying to play both arguments, so no matter what comes up at the end of the day, they're the winner. There are people who are very much in the detractor community, but then they come over here to the streams and they pretend to be friendly. And then all of a sudden, on the flip side of it, you know, they'll go back and back this backstabbing. So there was someone who this morning was watching the Side Scrollers podcast, said very, very bad things about me in their chat room, and just tried to tip me $1 and say something like, I'm going to talk to them. Are you stupid? Yes, you are stupid. You're dumb. Why? Do you think I'm blind? You know, obviously, you know, I watched the show this morning. I just talked about it, right? So, I mean, how dumb can you be? But these people are dumb. That's how they act. So, no, I'm not going to entertain you in my content when I know that you're saying nasty things about me all over the internet. I'd be a moron. Okay? All right, continuing on. Ibuki number 2 tipped me $1. I can't wait to watch that rant on one of my many detractor channels. It's gonna be great. Huh? I don't know. Maybe someone is saying they tried to get me to say something and I did, so now they're gonna watch it on a detractor channel. I don't care. Good for you. Doesn't make any sense. This is hilarious. Here we go again. $1 tip. I literally just addressed this. I'll reiterate myself. It's your word against theirs. Hard evidence would end all of this. Why not show anything that will back up your word? Because they have created their narrative in a very specific way. They had years to work on this. This isn't like they just came up with this overnight. This is a narrative that has been built in a specific way for years. So that now they think they've backed me into this corner. That if I, to prove my innocence, would have to reveal something. But if I reveal it, it could still be used to hurt me. Right? Right? And I've already explained. If I were to open up my phone at all, and you see anything on my screen, any of that is potential. That they could now try to hack, harass, mess with my life. If they see a login that I use for anything on my phone, oh, that's it. And you see what I'm saying? Any of that. Any information about a financial institution, about anything, you know, any little piece like that. And the thing is, that's what they want. They won't accept it. And then on top of all of that, all right, on top of all of that, if I did provide it, it would either be, oh, you see, well, Phil fabricated it, or he changed it just in time for this, so that now he looks okay. It doesn't matter. These people are not looking for any answer that will prove me innocent. If anything happens that would say, here's the definitive, evidence that I'm innocent, they wouldn't care. It would be what we've said over the years. It's called moving the goalpost. They will go on to the next thing. All right, well then, what about this horrible thing and this horrible thing? That's how they are. They've only done this every single time, you know what I'm saying, for the last 10 years. At first, it was, this is how you don't play. Then it was, first it was Phil's a bad gamer. Then it was Phil's a bad person. Then it was, you know, Phil doesn't deserve the success he has because he's lazy. Let's do all these horrible things to him. Then when I lose all my money because they destroy my YouTube channel, then it's, oh, you see, now Phil's lying about this and lying about that. It's on to the next. It's on to the next. It's on to the next. It's always on to the next thing with these people. I've been through this for 10 years. You see? 10 years. It's not like this has been, oh, I'm just getting exposure to it now. It's a 10-year process of the same thing happening over and over. So, the whole point is, the few times in history when there has been definitive evidence that what they say is wrong, they pretend like the situation didn't exist and they move on from it and move on to the next horrible thing. So there's no point. That's the point. Why ruin my own life and my family's life in order to disprove one piece of what they're saying just for there to be 10 more, and then they continue the harassment, right? Okay. I got another dollar tip here. Komi-san claims, I am demeaning. Here we go. Here's a new one. You say you don't deserve hate, but you're demeaning to Japanese culture. Every time you play any kind of JRPG and you assume all of Japan is waifus and no life, stop playing dumb. I keep telling you this, like. How do you not understand that's you? I challenge you. I absolutely challenge you. Find a moment in any of my content where I said, literally, everyone in Japan is like that. Challenge you. No. Is it part of their culture? Yes. Am I critical of that part of their culture? Yes. Do I have a right to my opinion? Oops, I can't say yes again. Does anyone have a right to disagree with that opinion? Yes. Does anyone have a right to harass me and my family and try to ruin my life because I have an opinion? Yes. Do you see the point I'm making? There comes to a point where logic has to step in and be like, no, okay, maybe you disagree with that. But again, oh, well, we all hate you because you said generalized things about Japan. Well, first of all, I never said that. I've disagreed with parts of culture. That's obviously for a group. Not everything is always going to be for every single person, right? We know that. But at the same time, is that a reason to try to be so toxic towards me and to hate me? I mean, come on. There's this rampant immaturity with the meme culture, with the hater troll culture. It's insane.
We don't need any haters. We don't need the trolls. We don't need the haters and the trolls. Quit trolling. You can't troll us. Quit trolling.
It's bubble time.
What the? It was a messy one. They went everywhere. There you go.
And by the way, I will say this. Regardless of how the podcast goes, regardless of anything, that Side Scrollers podcast is pretty good. I've been watching it for like 2 weeks now. I really like it. I suggest you all give it a watch. All right? If you don't like it, you don't like it. But I wanna support people who I feel are genuine, who are true to their passion for something. And I feel Craig is definitely one of those people. And the entire time I've known him, he's a very passionate guy about games, the gaming community, and all of that. And I think that he just deserves, some good attention on the stuff he does. Go check out his podcast. If you don't like it, it's fine. Like I said, he's from Texas. Take that as you will. So there's going to be some people on the show talking about, various topics. I think you could figure them out. Okay. Here we go. I should tell everyone there's a 24-hour wait. So, we have over 500 viewers. Perhaps some of you are newcomers to the channel. I don't know if you are. If you are, you cannot talk in chat or do comments for 24 hours. Why? Because there's a sub-only mode. Simply because trolling. I mean, with the level of trolling I get, if I didn't have sub-only mode, it would be pretty bad. We originally didn't have it, and the entire chat was just nonstop these idiots spamming insane, disgusting stuff. It was not fun for anyone. So sub-only mode's in effect. It is a 24-hour. If you sub for 24 hours, then you can chat, and you're welcome to come in here and be a part of the community. Everyone is welcome on DSP Gaming. Always have been. You called people idiots when they asked about an interview. Now you had one in the cards. You've been working on it for weeks. It's hard to understand you. It's mental gymnastics. If anything that I just explained to you on the show is mental gymnastics, okay? Mental gymnastics for you. I think maybe you need to work out your brain a little harder. Maybe, perhaps, you need to flex your thinking. I don't know how exactly you would do that. Maybe do some Sudoku or something. I don't know. But, I don't know. I don't know how else to respond to that. I literally just explained the whole situation. It sounds like someone was either going like this, neener, 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 I don't hear what, I can't hear you. Or, you just hear what you want to hear. I don't know what else to say. Another dollar tip came in. Holy moly. You have generalized it. Several times I've come to your streams. You said the Japanese have a culture of a hostess cafe. You compared Hong Kong to Japan. You're generalizing Asian cultures in general. I'm trying to help you be more self-aware, but you can't help it. It makes that generalization. Other people turn that into demeaning. All right. if you have a problem with something that I say on a stream, fine. Call me out for it. But, call me out when I'm doing it, too. Like, right now, I can't tell you exactly what I said or when I said it. I mean, how many games we're playing Like a Dragon Ishin, we've played Yakuza games, we've played Lost Judgment games. I've done React-style commentary on this stuff. I don't even know what you're addressing. In general, no, I don't believe that there is 100% of Japan is anything. That's ridiculous. There's no 100% of any group is anything. That's a crass overgeneralization that's meant to basically be inflammatory if you say something like that. So I don't even know what you're addressing. Tipping me dollars now during a podcast that's already gone over its length to try to prove your point is not helping anyone, including yourself. It's not helping your case. We don't even know what you're talking about. All right. So I'm sure there'll be more talk about all of this soon. If I have any more updates for any of you regarding any of this stuff, I'll let you know. Right now, 100% working on hashing out details and the like, and stuff like that. And I'll let you know when I know. Like I said, likely it'll be me appearing on this podcast middle of the month at some point. And likely it's going to end up being something that's before my own content. And then I can kind of do a post show. Hey, if you like that appearance, head over to DSPGaming. Or actually, at that point, it'll likely be DSP Reacts. I almost think like that would be the better channel to do it. Head over to DSP Reacts, right? And do a little mini show where we talk about everything that happened. And you know what I'm saying? You think it's true the majority of your current detractors weren't even around for your earlier offensive actions? They just bandwagon detractors who don't even know of you until they watch a detractor video. These people have never been hurt by you and still attack you? Probably. It's funny because they said something on the Side Scrollers podcast this morning that I completely disagree with. They actually said, do you think the major majority of people who don't like Phil who have become his detractors are former fans? I don't think so. I think at one point that was the case. I think during the This Is How You Don't Play movement, that was the case. And that was 10 years ago. That was, we liked Phil, but now seeing all the negative things he does all in one spot, we kind of realize, how bad he is. And, that's really what spearheaded that movement against me. Today, I don't think so. And again, they had misinformation. They said things about doxing. Like there's hardcore evidence I've doxed people. That literally has never happened. They said that I doxed one of my moderators. That literally has never happened. They have all this misinformation. You see? But this is what people believe. So people hear that, they believe it, and then they put it out on the internet as fact. I received quite a large super chat, a $31 super chat. Look at that nice chair spin. A $31 super chat from Stevie B, who says, have you thought about changing your name to Lightside Phil to promote your newfound positivity? Just a thought. No, someone already took that name years ago that apparently was also a detractor. I'm serious. So, I don't think I'll ever change my online moniker. I think it'll always be DSP or Darkside Phil. However, I do think that the whole era of the stupidness of people saying things like, oh, he's called the king of hate because he's a bigot and a racist. I think those days are over. I don't use that moniker anymore. It's been over a year that I got rid of it. There's too much misconceptions about it, too much bullshit. So I'm happy that those days are behind me because that was an easy one. People want to say that I'm a bad person. See, he calls himself this with no actual rationalization of what it means because it's not what they're saying it means, you see? But that's gone, but no, I don't think I'm ever going to change for being DSP. Al Wright has become a member, or re-upped his membership. You're a benevolent leader, love our community, thanks. I don't think of myself as a leader of anything. I'm just a normal dude. So, I'm calling upon the hate army. I rarely do this, but I need you guys definitely to help us out with this endeavor. He says good vibes to the hate army, right? Just a normal dude going through the internet, broadcasting his life. What's going on, Jade? Good to see you here today. All right. You've certainly done the best you can against trolling. You try to pay it no attention on your streams. I'm glad that you've noticed that I am trying to get, today was an exception. We had to address it. But in general, once I get to the meat of my streams, I try to ignore all that stuff. Something keeps them going. What do you think it is that keeps you in the spotlight? That I can answer. That I can absolutely answer. It's called personal benefit. Because there is a culture on YouTube to latch onto people, the lol cow culture, and bandwagon on people negatively and profit. Whether it's you get clickbait, whether it's you get, views, engagement, attention, growing content. There's people on YouTube who literally all they do is make videos of me and they get thousands of views and they actually make money doing it. All they do is slander me and they make money doing it. So that's what I mean. If there was no personal benefit to doing it, it would be way less prominent and it would have died out. But the thing is, once This Is How You Don't Play started dying out, what's the next thing we can do? Let's say something else toxic and nasty about him. Let's continue the harassment because this gravy train ain't drying out yet. Let's keep that negativity going. And YouTube does nothing about it unless you're rich and you sue people. They just keep it up, you see? Thanks for listening. I really enjoyed the show, getting some stuff off my chest, explaining the situation to you. Yesterday was rough because I wanted the Side Scrollers guys to talk about it first before I talked about it. Or else what was the point, right? So, thank you for listening.
All this from a slice of gabagool.
And by the way,
He should fucking die.
Whoa, Phil, take it easy.